On the 8th of March 2014, a Malaysian flight took off from Kuala Lumpur to China's capital Beijing, but didn't reach the destination. Till today, people do not know where this flight left in between. But after 8 years now, there is a clue about where the airplane is and where it has been for years. 8 years ago, Flight MH370 took off from the Malaysian capital Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, but went disappearance. People were shocked. They were unaware of the whereabouts of the Flight MH370. The flight contained 2 pilots, 10 cabin crew, and 227 passengers were there in the flight. Most of the passengers were from China. The flight pilots were highly experienced. 53-year-old Captain Zahare Ahmed Shah had 33 years of flying experience, and the pilot was Farik Abdul Hamid, who was 27 years old. He has 7 years experience in flying. The flight was normal. Every day was flying from China to Malaysia or from Malaysia to China. But suddenly, on the 8th of March 2014, this happened with the flight. The flight was full of fuel, even though there was extra fuel in the flight of its duration. The journey from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing takes 5 hours and 40 minutes. But the flight had 7 hours and 20 minutes of fuel. They add extra fuel to the flight due to any emergency or bad weather they could divert their location. After the takeoff from Kuala Lumpur, the flight turned the direction to the South China Sea. Everything was going fine at that time. After 20 minutes at 1:09 a.m., the flight sent their current GPS location to the correspondence of Malaysia. This is an automatic function of a plane that sends its current location to the air traffic control tower after each short period. After 10 minutes, the flight entered Vietnam Chi Minh. It was the last time when the Malaysian Air Traffic Control Tower correspondent contacted pilot Zahari Ahmed Shah and said, "Hello, Malaysian MH370, good night." The pilot heard this message and also answered good night. It was now the flight entered Vietnam, so it sent its radars to the nearest air traffic control tower in Chi Minh. After 3 minutes of this message, the flight disappeared from the Kuala Lumpur radar. It was normal for the Kuala Lumpur correspondent. They thought the flight reached the Vietnam airspace area, which is why they were unable to see the flight radar. But when the Ho Chi Minh Air Traffic Control saw the flight disappearing from their radar, they understood that something went wrong. They tried to contact the pilot, but he didn't get a response from the pilot. The Ho Chi Minh Air Traffic Tower continuously tried to contact with pilot for the next 18 minutes, but they couldn't get a response. Then, Ho Chi Minh Tower contacted the Kuala Lumpur Tower and briefed them on the situation. In these cases, the tower must contact the rescue center within half an hour, but the Kuala Lumpur contacted the aeronautical center after 4 hours. It was too late. And it was the time when the flight MH370 had to land in Beijing. People were looking for the flight may land in Beijing on time. Flight does not land at Beijing Airport. After passing the time, it's a routine landing. The Malaysian rescue team started a search operation where the flight MH370 disappeared. People were curious to know where the flight MH370 went. The news was circulating the globe. People were looking for good news, but there was no trace of the flight crash. Investigative teams from different countries took part in the search operation. The search operation continued on its 3rd day, but there was no clue of a flight crash found. All of them were shocked if the plane had not crashed. Then what happened was that suddenly the plane disappeared from the radar. But on the 4th day, a piece of news came that shocked the entire rescue team. When the flight MH370 disappeared from the radar at 1:21 a.m. on the 8th of March, it disappeared from the civilian radar but remained on the radar of the Malaysian military for the next 1 hour. After disappearing from the civilian radar, the flight started moving towards the right and then took a U-turn towards Malaysia. After 30 minutes, the flight crossed the Malaysian city of Penang and then turned to the Malacca Strait. The last time the flight MH370 was detected up to this point in the Indian Ocean as far as the range military radar could detect, and the time was 2:22 a.m. After this, the flight was detected from a military radar or civilian. The entire team was scratching their head thinking where the plane went. People watching the news from different countries were very concerned about this. And the most important thing was, they were shocked at why the flight had taken Beijing's opposite turn. The entire rescue team was searching for the plane in the Indian Ocean, but surprisingly, there was also no trace of the plane. After a few days, news came out that after disappearing from the military radar, there was still a satellite with which it was in constant contact. It is normal when an aircraft's communication doesn't operate, then they try to contact with satellite. The plane automatically tried to contact a satellite Intersat 35,000 kilometers away after every hour. With the help of the saved data on this satellite, the experts performed a complex calculation. So finally, the next move of the flight MH370 was also known. It was learned that Malaysian aircraft again took a turn after disappearing from the military radar and kept flying over the Indian Ocean in the same direction for the next 5 hours. At 8:19 a.m., the plane tried to contact a satellite last time, and this was the last signal from MH370. After this, the aircraft did not contact any satellite, nor it did appear to any radar. It means when the first rescue team was searching for the aircraft, it was flying, but its location was far away from there. The investigative team says that the plane's connection to the satellite after coming to the curved spot in the Indian Ocean, 2,000 kl west of Australia. This means that after the takeoff from Kuala Lumpur, the plane took 8 hours to reach this curved spot. And it took the plane 8 hours flying, and the fuel was of 7 hours 20 minutes in the aircraft. So there is a high chance that the MH370 crashed in the curved spot due to running out of fuel. The curved spot ocean is bigger than the whole of India. The search operation to find the crashed plane continued for 3 years. They wanted to find out the red box of the plane and to know what was happening in the plane before it crashed. After 3 years, this search operation ended. $16 million was spent on this search operation. During the search operation, nothing was found, but after 1 year of a plane crash in 2015, the plane's right flaperon reached on beach of the island of the Reunion. This is the part of the plane that comes in handy when landing. When this flaperon was investigated, another horrible reality was revealed. Experts believe that this flaperon was not extended when MH370 crashed in the water. And sadly, this means that while crashing on the water, the aircraft fell into the sea on its nose. Till then, the plane was not been found, but the piece of the plane could be seen on the beach of the South African Sea. Some investigators say that the plane was hijacked, and some of them claimed that the plane's passenger went unconscious due to lack of oxygen. That's why they couldn't contact anyone. Some of them believe that the plane crashed due to an electrical failure, but the truth can only be known when the plane's red recorded box can be found. After 8 years of the plane crash, Richard Godfrey, a retired British aerospace engineer, claimed that he had found out the actual location of the plane through weak signal propagation analysis. Surprisingly, the pinpoint location that Richard mentioned is present as the curved spot in the Indian Ocean in the same area. Richard believes that the wreck of a missing Malaysian airline lying 4,000 meters below the ocean is the exact point he mentioned. This depth is the same as where the Titanic laid for 74 years before it was discovered in 1985. How did the Malaysian government react to Richard's claim? And did the Malaysian government start another search operation where Richard mentioned or not? We hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching The Science Edda.